February 26, 2016, and this is episode 11 of Heroines of the Cherry Blossom. We're always excited to see you guys each and every week, and this Friday is no exception. Of course, I am the head maid in charge here, Pizza Maid, and of course, I have with me the lovely leader of the Geisha clan, the infamous, the notorious, the Sushi Geisha. Hey, Sushi.
Hello. How
I,
are you, Pizza? How are you guys?
I'm working on making your intro bigger and badder each day. I think I'm going to give you an entrance theme just before you start talking. I haven't thought of it yet. There's not enough WWE
Okay.
entrance themes I could think of, and I haven't found a wrestling one appropriate for you yet. So I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. It's not my time. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's another Friday. Thank God it's Friday. It was a long week this week.
Yep.
I mean, every week is always pretty
Yeah.
long, but this one was especially long. I know you were helping out some family with some issues. Everything's okay over there on your end, though? Everything's good?
Yes, the tree has been removed from the vehicle and um the vehicle is totaled and
Oh,
but insurance is involved and everything's going fine. So my parents will be getting a new car in a couple weeks. So,
good, good, good,
but
good.
they're okay. They're safe. They're sound. The house is okay. So I'm fine with that as long as they're okay. So,
Health first. I know that feeling. This week has been just a
yeah.
long one of just, getting things in order. Things are good, don't get me wrong, but it's been a very slow week. I've been a little stir crazy. I apologize for the delay of the podcast also. We're starting 15 minutes later than usual. I went out for the first time this week and I realized that I need to engage in more social interaction because if not, I look like a weirdo. I am such a black sheep. And we went out to dinner. I'm like, I don't know what to do with so many people. What do I do? I actually legitimately got anxious. I was like, man, I need to get out of Final Fantasy 14 for a little bit and just interact with people. I need to go to the supermarket. But enough about that. I mean, we did have long weeks in the real world, but just in the game zone of things, it was actually a really good week for games. We got a lot of streaming in this week, which was awesome. We played some games. Um, I finished Aroha's route. And I apologize. So, but you'll like it. You'll really, really like it. I promise you. But I do
And
as
I apologize for my territoriness. I've never been that way.
you're
We'll talk about it later, but
It's no,
I
you
don't
know
know what
what?
came over me.
There's no territorialness in this one. This one felt like it was pretty broadlined. I feel like in the world of Otome, I've come to accept that many women will have the same husbandos. And that's never bothered me. Like when people are like, oh, that's my husbando. I'm like, yeah, yeah, he is. I get that. I didn't feel it was as territorial at all. That's why I was like, good, you should. You should see how he looks in a suit. It's amazing. But we'll dive into that when we get to my point. But I do want to ask though, what have you been playing this week?
Um, so I'm still playing Digimon story Cyber Sleuth. I am finally made it to chapter 8. I'm doing like everything in this game, every side quest, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have it in the show notes as Satanmon because it is still Satan. Um, it is such a quick and easy game to pick up and grind some levels or progress the story and very easy to put down that you'll start finding yourself if you have 5 minutes, you're picking it up and you're like playing it for hours. Um, so I've been doing that. I started the new route in Men of Yeshua for the poll. I did not finish it. I'll address that later. You guys can yell at me. Um, I also started my first Fire Emblem game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Smashy and I, we have a list that we make every year of all the games that are coming out, their dates, pre-orders, anything that we're interested in. We kind of scale it, like stuff that we know we're gonna get, and stuff that well we'll follow up. And Smashy is a big Fire Emblem fan, and I was curious because there is um, romance in it, and I'll get more into that later, and it's a strategy RPG, and I haven't really played a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I went back and forth and talked about it, and he showed me screenshots, and then I saw Sabuki, and I was like, well, I'm gonna play this now because he's gorgeous, and I can marry him and have kids with him.
No
So,
way!
but
Can
I'm
you?
pleasantly surprised. Yeah, Yeah, you have kids in the game, and apparently, Smash, you correct me if I'm wrong, their buffs are like they're like OP. So they get buffs from the parents. So you want to procreate and have kids and like because they'll do better in battle kind of thing.
What?
Um, I'm playing on Phoenix mode because I am super casual, but it goes Phoenix, casual, classic, and lunatic, I think, or maybe lunatic was the last one. But basically, the one I'm playing is when someone dies, they come back by the next battle.
Hmm.
Casual, they come back at some point. I don't know all the things, but you can get so hardcore as if they die. Like they're out of the game. Like they don't come back. So you lose that
Oh.
whole story route. And I can't do that.
You're like, I'm not ready. My body's not
So
ready for that.
no, that's too hardcore for me. So I picked up Fire Emblem Fates. I got the Birthright edition because they said that that is a good intro. Um, and I'm sorry, Smashy corrected me. Phoenix, Casual, and Classic are different than normal, hard, and lunatic. Well, either
Ooh.
way, if you want people to come back and stay in your game, go with Phoenix or Casual, maybe. I don't know. Look it
Hmm.
up, research it. Don't trust me. I'm like, okay, Smashy says Phoenix, they come back next turn. Casual, they come back after each level. Classic, they are dead for good. So there you go.
Oh.
Pick whatever you want, but I can't. I want to see the story. So,
Mhm.
and I'm learning the game still. So I went with Phoenix because I'm not trying to prove anything.
Mhm.
Um, but there's actually two games. So there's Birthright and then another route called Conquest.
Mhm.
And they encourage new players to do Birthright because it is a little bit easier gameplay and more straightforward, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And story, I started it I started it last Saturday when Sab was working and I couldn't put it down. And then you reach this point in the game where it's just a natural point where you have to pick a side. And I was in tears, like what had happened. And I had just gotten to know the characters and I was already an emotional wreck. And it was just like, I love this game. And it's hilarious and silly. Like it has just the stupidest stuff in it sometimes, but I like it. So but it's one of those games where I have to focus when I play it because it is strategy based.
Mm.
So it's not one that I can kind of socialize while I play it. I think Sab like didn't hear a peep out of me the other night when I was playing it because I was just so focused because I didn't want to have to start the encounter. They're really long encounters.
Did you get a
Um,
maid though, at least? I just need to know that there is a maid somewhere in your troop of sorts. I
So it
just
depends upon your sex of your you get to make your own avatar, which is really cool.
okay.
Male or female, doesn't matter. If you do the male, you get a maid. If you do the female, you get a really hot butler that loves you and you can marry. And he's
Oh.
pretty badass, like when it comes to fighting.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't think
So
about that, but I just want the maid. I heard the maid in the Conquest version, Felicia, is absolutely amazing and she looks adorable, but I didn't know what made her different from I guess Flora, which is in Birthright. I couldn't tell the difference. I'm like I don't understand. So, damn, I want a
I don't
maid.
know. Maybe Smashy can speak to that.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm happy with Well, I want to do Conquest, but I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
Mhm.
Um, just because it is a lot more difficult and you have to get through all of Birthright and then start Conquest.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like I don't really. Oh, Emma says Felicia is in both.
Yes.
There you go.
Emma came in with the good news. Thanks, Emma. I'm excited. I want Felicia. She's so cute. I'm like,
So
she's adorable.
she is. So if you guys have a 3DS, I would encourage you to check it out. It's a lot of fun. You get to build a castle that has different shops in it. I'm waiting to unlock the hot spring so I can see what encounters take place. Smashy says nothing risque, but one can hope. And so I'm just working on building. I'm working on building my relationship with people, and I'll go into that more. So I've been playing that and of course, Trails in the Sky. And I haven't picked up Cold Steel this week, but Trails in the Sky, I'm still inching through that game. I love it. It's so much fun. And of course, Notice Me Senpai. I finally unlocked two CGs today, like randomly. And so I'm moving closer to the guys that are like that have two CGs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know how I'm gonna get their hearts to increase. Like, um, childhood friend and like the rocker senpai.
Uh-huh.
I am still kind of on 1 star with them. I'm at 4 stars with Butler, but I can't figure out what to do to like push him over the edge. So I'm still going that. I did want to add a warning for some Android users. I don't know if you want to chime in here, Pizza. I know we're both on iOS,
Mm-hmm.
but Breadmaster Lee was having major issues with the app. Now, Reniki said her Samsung Galaxy, I forget which one she had with 3.0 or the most recent Android software, she was doing fine. So I don't know if it's phone based or whatever, but it seems like Breadmaster Lee had some major issues with the app. So just be careful if you are on an Android device. You may want to read those reviews
Mm-hmm.
um, a little bit careful. Um, but that's it for me. And I know I've peeked in on you at Final Fantasy, and you mentioned Men of Yoshiwara, but what else have you done this week?
Oh, well, I did play Notice Me Senpai. That's a staple. And exactly like you said, Android users, just be careful. The issue that Breadmaster Lee was having was even after wiping and uninstalling the game from her phone, she was still having the ads appear on the game. And I know that on the iOS version, if you actually purchase gems, you can play the game ad free. So I ended up just buying like the 99-cent pack, or maybe it was like the 2.99 pack, and I don't have any ad issues. But if you are an Android user, just be wary of that. And again, if it is a software update issue, maybe that's it. We're not Samsung specialists and we're not Android users, so we won't know
No.
for sure. But definitely just use it at your own risk. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. This week is Little Ladies event. It's the Little Ladies Day event, which is when all of the major cities, or I believe it's just Ul'dah, it's all lined up in cherry blossoms. And I did the quest line for it today, and it's absolutely adorable. It involves you'll see it for yourself, but it involves, 3 different races of women with a really, really cute storyline. The only thing I will preface it with is K-pop saves. I thought it was awesome. K-pop saves. But it's my favorite event. It's probably my favorite Final Fantasy 14 event because it's one so feminine and so floral. It's completely full of cherry blossoms. You can get furniture for your house. I just picked up for free this really, really cute dress that's also dyeable. I absolutely love it with little lady clogs that have socks with them too. It's super cute. So I've been
Now,
playing that a lot
wasn't
lately.
there a patch?
Yes,
A patch was released this week, right?
Years of Change was actually introduced this week. It's patch 3.2, and it advances in the main scenario questline, which I still have a ways to go through the main scenario questline, so I haven't hit that point yet. But I hear it's really good. I had a
Okay.
lot of people who didn't want to post spoilers, which I'm very thankful for my Twitter feed being so respectful. But a lot of them were like, "Oh my fucking god, did that just happen?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "You have to get there to find out." And I'm like, "Damn it, sons of bitches." But apparently it's really, really good. And they really did implement a lot of new changes into Final Fantasy 14, which are awesome. There's just some things that I think we need to see what the actual trial and error is on live launch.
Okay.
The biggest being the mentorship system, because now they've implemented mentors who will help you and guide you through the process of leveling in Final Fantasy 14. And for what you help them in doing, you as a mentor will receive benefits, gifts, things like that. And they also have a new
That's
training.
cool.
Yeah, okay. In theory, it's cool. In actual execution, time will tell because it all really depends on the flavor of the community. This would probably be something that's great for EU and for the East. NA, I'm still always apprehensive on because we are the biggest set of trolls in the world. I love our community, do not get me wrong. I love our Final Fantasy 14 community, but I know that trolls exist in there and it's just the way of life. So we'll see. But it's been going really good. They also introduced some new training introduction to help you just really, they really encourage you to want to be a master of the craft in your respected class, whether it's one specific job set or if it's a specialized set, like being a support healer or being a melee damage or range damage. So we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to be trying it as well, just to see if I can actually stop being less of a fail healer. But I'm very excited with what they've done. Tons of new items for the house, which I'm ecstatic by. I'm like, oh, all the new items for the house. And they just started data mining and releasing new information on what should be coming up soon. And they showed that there's a housemaid set with the housemaid hat and the shoes. And I'm like, oh, here we guys go. Who's going to craft this for me in the guild? Who's going to do this? I already hit up my guild. I'm like, FC mates, who's going to help me out? Because I refuse to pay millions of gil for this. So who's going to help a sister out? But like, we figured that was coming. As soon as we saw it, we thought of you. I'm like, good. You guys thought right. But I have been playing that lately. I actually dove back into Code Realize, and I wrapped up the Van Helsing line, which I was excited about. I was like, cool, I got one down. I need 3 more to go before I can unlock Lupin. So I think my next choice is
What are your opinions?
I liked it. I
on
thought
Van Helsing.
I don't want to spoil it, so I will try to be as vague as possible in that I enjoyed it. Because I knew how it was going to end, because I accidentally found out the spoiler that I shouldn't have been known, I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I accepted it. I think it was still really well written, and I think it still gripped my attention, even though it didn't have some of the elements that I was hoping for. But again, I think I also have my eye on the prize and just saying, I want Lupin. So I'm like, it almost became at this point, it was no longer that was my goal. It was my step towards my goal. So I was like, okay, got Van Helsing done. Now on to another, which I think will probably be Saint Germain. If not, it'll probably be Fran. I'm very excited to try Fran too. I think I might do Fran. I'm kind of going in between the two. But I just kind of quietly play that while, there's just a few hours in the morning or a few hours in the evening that I have just quiet time. But I did that. I did the Men of Yoshiwara. I finished up the Aroha line because I had seen your videos about it. I'm like, I'm really curious to know what happens. And Catmaid was with me. We stayed up so late one night. We stayed up to almost like 2:45, 3 a.m. because...
They're long routes.
But Iroha's route sucks the life out of you. And when you had said to me, you go from 0 to 80, you weren't kidding. But then you learn in the progression of the entire route, it's 0 to 80, 80 to 0, 0 to 20, 20 to 0, 0 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 back to 0. And it's just like, my emotions, holy shit, my emotions. And just everything that happened in that storyline, it's a great storyline. And this is the very reason why I say Iroha is totally your husbando, because in my mind, he is everything I think you want in an Otome husband. Like, that's it. I completely see it. And you have to, but you're going to have moments where you're going to get punched in the gut in his storyline that you're going to go, oh my God, you have to keep going. I literally went on like a 2-day withdrawal of not playing the game because me and Catmaid had a complete like mind fuck where we were just like, I don't even want to continue the storyline. Like, I needed someone to tell me who played the storyline. It's okay. You can keep going. And it's well worth it. It definitely is well worth it. You will enjoy some things in there. I promise you. I promise you. I actually have
I look forward to it.
Yeah. I actually, for this week's screenshots, I have a screenshot that shows a localization error. And you'll get a kick out of it. It doesn't spoil anything. It's just funny more than anything.
I love those.
They're always the best. And this one was literally, I stopped midway during my stream just laughing, just uncontrollably. And I'll post up the VODs this weekend. I was just kind of holding off just to see what everyone was up to. And then on a whim, I found a game on Facebook called Dream Boyfriend. And it's a game that's like an Otome, but it isn't, and it's you literally craft and make your own personal girlfriend, like your own personal girl. So with the complete intent and purpose of just wanting to have a cute cat girl that looks like Myru, I made it. And then I was like, I want to see if there's a guy portion, and there is. And it's called Animal Boyfriend. I thought by this point now I would have stopped playing it, but I'm still playing it. I want my cat boy to succeed so well. And I named him Samo-chan. I actually posted about it on the blog, and I've actually been having a lot of
I
fun with
saw
it.
that.
At first, I didn't think I'd like it, because at first I was like, this is interesting, but kind of weird. Why do I need an animal boyfriend when I have one of my own? And even my family joke. They're like, "What is one of your Samodians not good enough?" And I'm like, "No, it's just this one has cat ears. The real one doesn't." And they're like, "Oh, well, all the difference in the world." But I believe the Japanese title for it is Gijin Kareshi, and I didn't know that it actually had such a like underground cult following. And I think this might be strictly like just like a small niche, but still has a good following. But I've been playing it. A lot of people have been super helpful. I've actually like met a lot of people who are
Mm-hmm.
making these suggestions and recommendations to make him cuter than he already is. Some of them are, some of them I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it, but it's a fun game. I tell everybody if you just want something fun to do for a little while, that's what I've been playing. Between that and Notice Me Senpai, that takes up all my phone game time. And I did also play a part of Blood Code. I did play the lock route. I apologize because I have not finished the storyline as well. So I think this week for both Sushi and I think we're going to have to extend our pizza plays and sushi plays until next week because there are definitely some longer
Yeah.
routes. Um, but I did meet Christ.
Especially in yours.
Oh my
Blood Code
God.
is very much like stats and daily activities based and stuff like that. It's a much more intense. It's not a straight up. I mean, I guess I mean it still is an Otome game, but I would what would you call those like mini games or something? Like
They are.
they just affect.
It reminds me of Persona in a lot of ways and how like it's on a weekly basis and you have to like do certain things day to day. And it also reminds me of Winter in Fairbrook, Flower Shop Winter in Fairbrook, where you have to schedule the week and you're not just playing the game. In order to trigger events happening, you have to play the game. You have to go to school. You have to go to work. Of course, there's no gardens that you have to tend in Blood Code, but you have all this stuff and the storyline kind of threw me out for left field too. That's what I was like, I don't know the premise of the game. And then when it was finally introduced to me what happened,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, plot twist. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But Emma, are you
Yeah.
talking about Blood Code that you've been playing for a year and a half, or Animal
I think she's
Boyfriend?
talking about the animal boyfriend, I think.
I'm gonna
I
send you.
think
I'm gonna
I'm
send you
saying
my
that.
friend code. Let's be friends. Let's be friends. I bet you'd have good recommendations for Samo-chan. But for what I've played so far of Blood Code, I like it. Um, I haven't completed his route. I'd like to believe that I'm at least 10% of the way in because I did get his number. I got Locke's number. And Christ is like my BFF.
Good.
Yeah, me and Christ are friends. And whenever I have to talk to him, I refer to him as Christ. It's always a good chuckle. Because it's like, Christ, what are you doing here?
Always.
And then the teacher in the route too. The teacher's way too personable for me. He's a little too like
Yeah.
personable to the point where I feel a slight stranger danger, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Blood Code's gonna take a while, I think. I think I'm gonna try to complete as much as I can in next week before starting something else. But what I've played of it, I definitely like. I think it's a really good game. And I think that it's for the completionist in me, it's going to take a long time to do everything that I want to do. I want to try to at least get all the Steam achievements for it. But what I've played thus far, it's good. It's not, oh my god, amazing, but I enjoy it for what it is. I definitely do enjoy the premise behind it. And if it's definitely a lot longer than How to Take Off Your Mask. Holy shit, it's a lot longer. So I'm going to be at this one for quite a bit. But I'm enjoying so far of it. So that's pretty much what's been happening with me. Of course, this means for you guys, we sincerely apologize, but no polls this week. No polls. So we're
Yeah.
gonna keep on the long road with Hayabusa and Locke. And I'm actually curious what you've played so far of Hayabusa and Men of Yoshiwara. Because I saw your stream, and I could see by your face. And at one point, I had to mute it because I had to take a phone call. But I could see your face just going, no, there's no sex. Why aren't we getting laid? I was like, Sushi. What are your thoughts on it so far?
It that's one thing about me is I cannot hide my facial expressions. And I will say, okay, so Hayabusa is a childhood friend that disappeared years ago, and you run into him and you discover that he's a gentleman of the night, right?
Hmm.
And I, disclaimer here, I do not like the childhood friend routes. I never have. I'm glad they're there. Like I said, I like variety, and I just may have never come across one that changes me, but I I just have never gotten into those routes. Um, and but I gave it an open mind because he was, very attractive, and I wanted to know the story. And it's very hard going from Aroha to this
Hmm.
route.
I agree.
Hayabusa, I would encourage you, if this is your first time playing this game, I would encourage you to take this route. So far, I'm at, God, what chapter? I think I'm at chapter 6, maybe. Um, it is, um, to me, it was very slow. A lot of dialogue, no real action, and it got real at parts. Like it actually brought in the fact that there were children there working, not as prostitutes, but working to, bring food around, whatever around. So it really brought the story home. So it wasn't like, oh, I don't really understand the story. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to have a good time with the lewd content.
Hmm.
It would have little checks where I would be like, right, oh, I don't feel comfortable with this. You know what I mean? Um, but I think why I would encourage it to be a first trial is so far it's not lewd. Um, it does have a ton of language errors, which I also submitted a couple of those, which are hilarious. Um, but and it has more of the story, I think, and I think it's a nice segment or segue into the game. I will say that this was the first route I've done where your actions at the beginning of the game catch up to you during the route. So
Really?
I wouldn't consider this a spoiler, but at the very beginning of every route in that game, you help a young couple, this is all I'll say, escape the island. And I'll just leave it at that. And in every other route, it kind of comes up and they're like, oh, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. And this route, they find out. And that's where I left it. So I'm hoping Monday or Wednesday to pick it back up. But their chapters were more like they left it on cliffhangers.
Hmm.
It was just a very different feel than the other routes in the game. And I noticed a lot more people liked his route than I did. And I'm not saying it's bad. Like I said, disclaimer, you guys know me. Pizza is pure, pure. I am lewd, lewd. And I was very bored. And when you go from sake swapping kisses within the first 5 minutes to absolutely nothing,
Hmm.
nothing for 2 hours, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, could you just, like, you know,
I, see,
accidentally fall into my lips and slip me a tongue? Like, could we just accidentally make that happen?
I will say
you
though,
know?
the thing is with Aroha's storyline, after finally completing it, I think what is great about it is exactly like you said. It goes from 0 to 80, and it happens at random, sporadic points throughout the entire route. I think Hayabusa, and this is why I'm in complete agreement with you that I think that for a first route for maybe beginner Otome players, it is a great route. Is that it's very steady. It's very steady. I am very much
Yes.
in agreement with you. I don't like childhood friendships. And the reason that I don't necessarily prefer the childhood friend routes is merely because I'm very much in the mentality of once you're my childhood friend, it's almost familial to me at that point. I can't vision you as anything but a childhood friend. Like, I can't imagine being, more than lovers. And that's just a personality thing with me. That's just who I am as an individual. And that's why the childhood friend routes always turn me off. Even the big brother routes, like that just takes another level for me. It's just in the opposite direction as opposed to it being maybe a little brother or someone my age, someone older than me that I've been friends with for a long time. I can't play those routes comfortably. I'm just like, I'm just gonna still see you as a brother. Like if I'm told you're like a brother to me, then I'm just gonna think nothing of it blossoming into anything. But I think Hayabusa is
Yeah.
very safe. Maybe it'll pick up towards the
So far.
end. Yeah, so far, and you're only 6 chapters in, so that's almost at the halfway point because I think it's 12, 13 chapters per route.
Yeah.
I think if you can determine at the halfway mark that it's still like this, there's a very strong chance that there's going to be, a relatively intense climax and then just kind of go down to the, you know, stereotypical finale. That would be my guess. I could be very wrong. It could very well
Yeah.
be, safe all the way through and then at the end be like that, oh shit moment. He's actually a woman. Fuck. Like, you never know. But I don't think he's
Well, see,
actually a woman.
well, see, for me, my other problem is in real life, I'm very impatient
Hmm.
and I'm very direct with my feelings. So this whole like I like him, but I don't want to tell him or any not that that's the case, but you can tell they are withholding, revealing how they feel to each other,
Hmm.
and that just drives me nuts because I'm like I mean, I have never had a guy ask me out because I'm always like, hey, I realize I like this guy. I'm going to go say, hey, I like you. We should go out. I'm not going to waste time.
Hmm.
I acknowledge my feelings. Let's do this. Let's make it happen, whatever we're going to do. And so those routes where maybe people are a bit more shy or withdrawn on their feelings, I get agitated and I find myself like yelling, like, just tell them how you freaking feel. Like, come on, man.
Especially when you're playing as the
So,
main
like I
heroine.
said,
When you're playing as the main heroine and you don't
yes.
get the option to be directed forward, you're like, just give me the option to finally break the ice. Why can't I do that? That sucks
And so
immensely.
and so that's why I do a disclaimer on this route because I don't think it's a bad route at all so far. I think it's just not the route for me.
Hmm.
Um, so I would encourage you guys to play it. I will definitely finish it next week and I will stream it and finish uploading the VOD on YouTube. But so far it's I think it would be a good starting point and don't let my personal interests and feelings hinder you from playing this route. I think it is a good route, but that's why I preface it with, I'm a very different Otome player maybe than some, so that's why I'm having a hard time getting into this route.
Hmm.
So,
It has some nice CGs that I've seen. It seems like a
oh my God, no, 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 no. There's
oh
one CG. Oh man,
oh the
I
fly
wish
one.
Cat made series. I didn't submit that one. Oh my God. Maybe I can. Can I email it to you? Is there still
Yeah,
time?
you could totally
Um,
email it to me. I think that's one worth seeing. That's one worth. Do I even have it? I may have it. Oh God, we have to
it
submit that one.
it is terrifying. Um, he has all these great CGs, and I'm like blown away. I'm like, okay, you know what? These make it worth the route. And then you click on it, and it's like, yeah, no, we're not. And I can never see him,
The same.
you know,
No,
that way again.
I just realized that. I'm like, oh, he has
It
such
is
great CGs. Wait, no, that one.
no, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, I'm sending that to you. Sorry guys, we're real professional. Um,
This is worth the
but
no. This is worth
you
it.
have to see this.
This is
You have
definitely
to
worth
see
it.
this.
Actually, can I open up my? It may have me
Oh
alt
no,
tab. It's
I
okay. I'll
didn't
find
grab
it.
it. I'd have
I'll
to.
I'll find it.
Okay.
It's nothing Google can't fix.
Okay.
We'll fix this. We will fix. We will
But
rectify this.
still, I think it is like we were saying, I think it is a good intro route to the game. And for new Otome players that maybe you haven't found your type yet, I think it is a very good intro to it. But don't expect the rest of the game to be like that because the rest of the game is pretty fun and lewd and silly, at least to me. And this one route seems pretty serious so far.
Oh, is it not here? Oh no, I found it. I found it. Fear not.
Okay.
We found it. Um,
So yeah, I won't be doing a poll this week, guys. I'll do one next week and I will finish the route, I promise, next week. So
okay, I have it saved. He just needs to. I just need to really quickly. Why? Okay, well, I'll add that one last. I'm not even gonna add it in just yet because I don't want that saved on my computer for long.
No.
No, there's nothing good about that one. There, nothing. No good
So
can come of it.
how's sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good.
How was Locke's route? Because I've started Blood Code, but I went with Christ. I go with Christ all the time, apparently.
You know, you accidentally fall into Christ regardless, as I've come to learn from playing the game. Like even though I didn't want to be with Christ, Christ was a part of my life. No matter, he would never leave me nor forsake me. It never rang more true than in that game. I was like, wow, homeboy is like right here. Locke
Yeah.
is I don't know much about Locke. I feel like there's still so much to be discovered from him. Yes, he is a vampire. Guys, that is not a spoiler. That is basically already known in just the character description. Yeah. Christ does find a way. Christ found a way. He wants to find a way into my heart. And I should accept him since my mom's a minister, but it's a little different, I think. Locke, on the other hand, Locke is very... I'm trying to find out. If I could describe him in any way, and this is for all my K-drama viewers out there, you guys know this. When I make this analogy, Locke reminds me of Yoon Ji-hoo from Boys Over Flowers in his disposition and demeanor in the beginning of the route. He's elusive, he's mysterious, but he's not cold and distant. He's kind, but he's just not at arm's reach kind of deal. Or at least that's what it feels like in the beginning. Like immediately, my mind immediately went to Yoon Ji-hoo from Boys Over Flowers because he's very sentimental. He has sensitive moments. Like he plays this piano in the route, and he likes to go to this regular coffee shop, and he has, he's very rhetorical in what he does everything very systematically, not rhetorically. He's very systematic in what he does. He has a regimen set up. And I like that about him, and it makes me want to get to know him more because he feels very much like a forbidden apple. It's something that you want, but you probably can't have or you shouldn't have. And I think that's where he kind of sets a bit of interest in me playing this route. But it's really hard because I feel like I'm kind of getting cock-blocked by Christ. Like, Christ just keeps getting in the way. And it's not even like he purposely gets in the way. It's just the direction of how you have... The way that the game is played and its system is that you choose, what days you should be taking rest days, what days you should be working, what days you should be going to school. You decide all these things on a weekly basis and then set it out. And then with certain days, it kind of gives you a forewarning, like, there's a potential trigger that you can have a moment with this character. So regardless, Christ just slips his way in no matter, how. But I feel like I want to get closer to him, but I have so many, things getting in the way. And Christ is one of them. Christ is always in my way. Christ wants me to go to his little convenience store and hang out with him there because that's his favorite place. And then when he keeps asking me what my favorite place is, I keep telling him, come to church. And I'm like, this is so backwards. I can't handle this. But Locke, on the other hand, is very authoritative. He seems like he's very much the leadership type. Or it's too soon to tell, but he seems like he's a very leadership type, but very composed, very calm. And it could mean that he could be, a man in the streets, but a freak in the sheets kind of deal. I don't know. We are all teenagers. I could be completely wrong. But what I've seen so far, I like. It just... Christ keeps butting in. So I'm just like, Christ, it's not your turn yet. You have to wait. You have to wait like everybody else. Get in line. I'm working on Locke. So, it's interesting. But he even has a really good look to him, too. He has a very regal disposition about him. Very noble. And I'm like, I can get behind that Locke. We could throw down. But I did get his number. And I cheered fanatically when I got his number. I'm like, we got a number. Woohoo! Let's do this. So that's lock at the moment. I'll be streaming more of it again on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. Probably going to shoot for the 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern slot. That seems to work really well. I know a lot of viewers come check you out on those days, those times, so I'm going to give them a shot. I tried the late night stream, and it's worked fairly well, but it's, again, I think, just the work week. People are like, I got to go. It may not be, Atomes may not be
Yeah.
the game to play on late night streams. You might need something more, action packed or action based. I noticed Diablo fans love like those late hours, but it just doesn't seem to work well for Atome. So we're gonna try 8 to 10 and see how that goes. But you know, I think this actually. Oh my God, did we segue properly? This did segue properly.
I think
Um,
so.
Whoa! High five! Woohoo! It's actually great because we got into a discussion. We sent out a question this week to the viewers on Twitter asking them what was the specific question that we asked? Like, would you stream or do you not stream and for what reason, why? Kind of deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot of great responses. I don't have them up in front of me, but some of the biggest things that we heard was equipment issues or possible rig setups. A lot of people, it was a matter of time and interest. And another thing, which I feel is important with regard to Atome, is comfort and privacy. Some people
Hmm.
are just like, that's something that I respect. I love streaming and doing Let's Plays, but, this isn't necessarily a Let's Play that I want to do publicly for people to see. And that's completely understandable. Um, One of the questions that I don't know if it's the both of us, but I know for myself that I'm asked, aside from, do you do interviews for other podcasts, is, you know, are you okay streaming? Do you actually feel like reservations or inhibitions when streaming? And for myself, I have a ton. I actually just recently started streaming with my face on stream. I couldn't do that in the beginning because
Yeah.
I'm a very transparent individual. So if I'm excited by what I see or what's about to happen on a stream, I'm not gonna hide it. My face is gonna get very red, or I'm gonna do a lot of covering my face. So I know that it's kind of me coming out of my comfort zone. But I think for the both of us as streamers, I mean, there's a lot of factors to consider. I'm curious about you, where you stand, Sushi, as a streamer, because I think we're both very alike and yet also very different as Atome streamers.
I it took a while. The first time I streamed was, wow, a long time ago, and it wasn't consistent or anything. I was playing Hakuoki, and I found out I could stream it through my laptop with a capture card. And I was all about Hakuoki at the time, and it was on the PS3. And I remember just starting it up, and I was just gonna be late at night. I like watching no mic streams because I just want to hear the game. I want to hear the music, and I just want to relax to that. So I figured, well, that's what I'll stream. I don't have to show my face. I don't have to talk. And then our dear friend Ovada, as supportive as she always is, showed up and she was like, I want to hear your voice. And Sab was like, I told you to go get a mic. And I was like, but I don't want to talk. So then next thing I know, I'm talking. And I did that for a little bit, but it was still very awkward. And I don't have a tough skin, and I am very insecure about my appearance, how I talk, like just everything about me. I'm extremely insecure about, and so the idea of putting myself on the internet, um, live, to play a game, and I'm not that great at video games. I'm not. I just enjoy playing them. It was just like too much. I just felt too vulnerable.
Mm,
And so I started implementing little things one at a time. But until we started the podcast, I never had a webcam.
mm,
And it took me a long time to get comfortable being on the webcam. Um, and I will say it straight out, you will never see me on webcam without my lipstick. It's just, this is who I am. Like, I just know my own insecurities. And, and so, but now anymore, I don't even think about it. Like, it's so nice.
Mm.
I'm just like, well, that's me. And like Smashy will screenshot some funny look I have during like Hatful Boyfriend when like it was the pudding god revealed himself, and you can literally see like on my face, what is this shit that I'm playing? And I love it now. Because before I would have been like, oh my God, I'm not smiling. I don't look pretty. And now I'm just like, yep, that's me. That's how I look. And um, so it's been a real evolution for me. And that's one thing that I would encourage if you are interested in streaming anything at all, just start out small and what you're comfortable with. And from other streamers, like big time streamers, they always say even if you don't have anyone in channel, still craft your style.
Mm-hmm.
That's practice for when people do show up.
Yep.
So do what's comfortable and then just be yourself because people like real people.
Yeah.
But for me, it was definite little baby steps because I knew my insecurities and what I was comfortable with and what I wasn't. So that was my whole very awkward process to getting to the point where I am now where I'm like I just cut it on and it is what it is and it's great. It's a fun feeling for me to be at that point.
Mm-hmm. I always was okay and comfortable with the personality. I've always been an extroverted, louder, larger than life
Right.
individual. So to all the people that think that I'm extremely hyped and consume 8 like cans of Red Bull before I start the show, no, that's just a bottle of water. That is me every day of my life, and my family will be the first to tell you. It is there. You will think something is physically wrong with me if I'm quiet and I'm reserved, or because that's just the personality that I am. I don't know if that's part of my racial passive as a Latina female, or if that's just my upbringing being surrounded by so many strong females. So that reservation doesn't really come with many insecurities. My insecurity, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
one that I've always overcame, is my equipment. I always loved watching streamers going, I want to do that, I want to do that. But I was so limited to what I can do because within the last 10 years of my life, I've been traveling. I mean, that was my career, that was my lifestyle, was being nomadic. And so it didn't make sense for me to have a desktop PC. Now it does with a little more
Mm-hmm.
purpose, but anything I needed, I always had available to me on my smartphone or my laptop. So I want to encourage the people
Right.
who are nervous or insecure that they may not have the perfect stream setup. Nobody does when they begin, I promise you. um, my
No.
my exact setup, I promise you, is literally this laptop, which you see here, my phone, which is how I read my show notes, my microphone, and my headphones. I can take my rig with me, my setup and my streaming setup anywhere. And it's not amazing. It still has glitches. It still has its moments where it breaks and cuts out. I'm at better internet now, so it doesn't cut out as much as it used to. But this is how I started streaming. And before Atome's, I was streaming Final Fantasy 14, and this was my rig setup. And my rig setup then was absolutely bare bones. It was literally just a small image of my avatar Rue covering my chat and me just doing what I was doing in
Yeah.
game. And then, maybe on a whim, I would put on the microphone and talk to people, but people didn't know my face. Um, Again, due to my current equipment setup, I am very limited to what I can and cannot play. I'm fortunate that I can play Atomes comfortably and with no stream delay, no lag, no dropped frames. And Final Fantasy 14 seems to be the only MMO that I could do that with. Diablo 3 is one that I can also stream, and I attempted Blade and Soul. That was a complete lost cause. That was just
Oh.
it's apparently Korea just does not like me. They like giving me skincare and K dramas, but they don't like giving me their games. Oh well, it is what it is. But to the people that feel a hindrance that they may not have the up to date setup, I encourage you to reach out on YouTube and look for a video by It's Me JP. He does, I can't remember right now the name of the actual podcast that it's called, but he was joined by,
Drop frames,
maybe it was Dropped Frames. I think it was. And
I
he
think.
had on that show, on that specific episode, Ezekiel. Um, he had,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was Strippin and maybe one other person, and everyone was talking about how they got started into streaming, and it was very inspirational for me. It motivated me to do what I could do, and just, even if it wasn't much, we all have to start from somewhere. And this, to me, it's not a big setup. I don't have dual monitors, and I don't even have a webcam. I use the webcam on my laptop, and that's the honest truth. But it's my starting point. It's my humble beginning. So I'm proud of what I have. And I mean, the newest thing that I own is probably this mic, which I got for $40 on a lightning sale on Amazon. But it works. And my headphones work fine, and my laptop does what it can. Every now and then, of course, it occasionally fucks up for me because sometimes it doesn't work well with the internet. It is what it is. But don't let your equipment kind of define what you want to do. Find loopholes. You can always find back doors in what you want to do. To learn that now, for streaming almost a year and a half, maybe a year, one, that I could stream Atomes was absolutely amazing to me. And whether or not there's an audience for it on Twitch, don't let that discourage you.
Don't pay attention to
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah, because I mean,
Don't pay attention to
there's
numbers.
people that don't even have a preference of playing on Twitch. Twitch is our mainstream one just because it's, it's there, it's relevant. We see what it does for other games and other people. But I know there's people like Breadmaster Lee that use Hitbox. There's people that use Forge.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that use other different types of setups. Find something that works best for you and start small. Even if you don't have a mic and headphones, just play the game as you would. If you can just stream it off of, and before I started using XSplit for the last year, I was streaming off OBS because it was free. And free is me, So I was just using OBS, and my headphone mic setup was actually a pair of Skull Candy headphones, which I still have, that I got at Radio Shack for $9. And that was how we started streaming Heroines of the Cherry Blossom. The beautiful overlay that you see on this show, by the way, it's not beautiful. I did it off of Preview with just a standard run-of-the-mill image that I could find. Everything that you see on here has been made or, crafted by us. The intro theme, that was done on Sushi's end. You know what I mean? Everything that we handle with regards to exporting as a VOD, putting on iTunes, we've done it all ourselves. And of course, we've had friends who have helped us along the way to tweak it so that it can be better. And we still have a very long ways to go. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of how to include a guest on the show and figure out how I can just, change and update that regularly. So we still have a long way to go, but what we've started and what we've created, we're really happy with. So as a streamer, I always tell people, don't let the equipment define what you want to do. And if it really means that much to you, you'll find a way to make it work. And there's always, accessibilities. And of course, some computer setups aren't greater than most. Some people aren't. I'm not operating on an NVIDIA or a Radeon graphics card. I'm working with the Intel, card that I have in this laptop. But it makes do. And I don't have 80 megs of RAM or whatever you want to call it. I don't have sheep in my laptop, but I have something. Obviously, it makes it speed up, but it gets overheated. So I ended up buying this laptop cooler for $12 on Amazon. And literally, as we're streaming now, you can't even tell or hear it, but it's cooling down my laptop just while I have all these windows and tabs open just to make the podcast work. You find alternatives to kind of fix the situations, and you can do it on a dime. But I do encourage to those people that if you have streamers that you enjoy and see out there, and you see that they're struggling and they want to try to give you a better performance of what they can provide on their channel, if you truly do care about them and you truly want to see them, progress further in their career, be sure to give them, a donation, or be sure to, send the word out to other friends and folks about them. I'm very thankful that the podcast and Sushi and tons of other people have been like, go check out Pizza's stream. It's not a whole lot, but it's fun, because this is something that I do want to do with my life. It's a labor of love. And when you make something like Atome streaming a labor of love, it's pretty fucking awesome. It really is. So it's the highlight of my week. That's for damn sure. If not, I'm usually cleaning or watching NYPD Blue. Oh, the unemployed life is really hard right now. But I'm working on it. Watch a whole lot of NYPD Blue while I'm home and job hunting simultaneously. But I do love Otome streaming. I've learned that it's become my niche, and now I've gained more confidence to openly talk. I still can't say certain things, like if they're making moaning noises in an onomatopoeia form in dialogue of an Otome, I literally just say insert noise here because I can't do the yeah, yeah, like I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And if
Ovada does that really well.
really, hi Catmaid, how are you?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't. I'm still
So
very shy about that. I'm too pure. I'm not very good at it. So
just to drop in a disclaimer here, most games, um, most games are streamable. Twitch does have a list um, of games that are not streamable. They are not Otome games. I think Honey Pop is on there. Um, but Flan did mention this when we were talking about it on Twitter, and I thought it was a good disclaimer. If you're worried that you might get flagged, or if you plan on uploading the video to YouTube and you're worried at all, reach out to the company and do some research. Flan said that a few years ago, Voltage was pulling YouTube videos down.
mhm.
So, if there's any hesitation, reach out, ask other Otome fans, or ask other people that have streamed that or have not, and they may tell you if the company doesn't reach out, because you definitely, with how sensitive the YouTube reporting system is,
Yeah,
3 strikes you're out. That could really hinder, your goals. So definitely research that. We put together a list of things that can help stream, or well, I guess a list of options
yeah,
um,
because we
that
don't.
you have.
Yeah, we you don't have to do it just by desktop or by laptop. That you could, if you wanted to, and it's within laws that are, it's legal, and it's, you have the permission to do it. You can mobile stream also. So these links are to help and aid you in that process.
Yeah, so like most of them unfortunately do require a PC involved, but that does not mean a fancy PC. That does not mean a fancy laptop or anything. It just means that it has to run through that.
Mhm.
If you are interested in Sony games, obviously the PS4 does some streaming on some games, not all of them. Um, and there's not really, I don't think there's any Otome games right now on the PS4, if that's what you're looking to stream. Um, the Vita can't stream unless it's modified, which is illegal. So
Yeah.
that's why we have the PlayStation TV, which is region unlocked. It is $44 with shipping from Amazon. You will need a PC for that, or a computer, laptop, and a HDMI splitter that can run you about $25 as well. You can also use your PlayStation 3 if you have one with a capture card. It's not as fancy of a capture card um, as you'll need for like the PlayStation TV or PS4, but it'll still run you about $50 to $100. There's only one Otome game I know of on PS3, and that is Hakuoki.
Mm-hmm.
And the PS3, I don't believe is region unlocked. They do have PlayStation Now, which you can play over 300 PS3 games, sub-based, $20 for 1 month, $45 for 3 months. But Smashy and I looked last night, and there's only one Otome game, and that's Hakuoki, and that will not stream on the PS4. Even if you do the PlayStation Now through your PS4. So you will still need a computer, laptop, capture card to stream it from your PS3. So you do have options, but it is, a commitment. If you're looking to do, Vita games, which they have tons of Otome games that you can get over here and import and play, those are probably your best options. I would encourage PlayStation TV, computer, and the splitter and all that stuff, but it is still pricey. Um, as far as Nintendo options, there are none for the DS. Once again, if you modify the DS, it is illegal, and it's also not region unlocked, which I'm upset about because there's a Food Wars game that I really, really want. And Corgi retweets all this stuff, and I'm like, I want that game. It's not fair. Um, I think you can stream from the Wii U with a capture card and a PC, but I have not personally done that. But I know I've watched a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles X
Hmm.
streams.
Smash does it too.
But once again, right.
Mhm.
But once again, I don't. The only Otome game I know of on a Nintendo system is Hakuoki on 3DS. So now this one, the mobile games, there is an option. It's still pretty pricey, but if that's what you want to stream, it's a lot cheaper than because you don't need a PC for this. But I've seen a streamer use an Nvidia Shield tablet, which is $200 basic and 250 with controller to stream Clash of Clans and Hearthstone. So I assume it would work for a mobile Otome game as well. I don't think that would be a problem. Do you, Pizza?
It shouldn't be an issue. I mean, you just need to check to make sure that you have the updated software for it. Mac side,
Right.
I'm not entirely sure if that would work. I figured out Mac in an entirely different fashion, and I've had people suggest other things. PC is still somewhat foreign to me, and I only use PC as a boot camp partition, so I'm actually limited on space. I can't do mobile streaming on the PC end, but the Mac end I can do. So.
Well, yeah, the good thing with the Shield tablet is you don't need a PC or a laptop or anything because it
Mhm.
has a camera built into it as well. So you
Oh.
can actually stream everything from it, but it still is $200. That's pretty pricey, but it eliminates the PC. And if you play mobile games, then you could do that.
Mhm.
Um, and then PC slash my or Mac, sorry, is the other platform to consider, and they're common in all of these options except for the Nvidia Shield, it seems.
Mhm.
I think Roger listed an app for iOS that lets you mirror the phone screen to your computer.
Yeah, basic mirroring.
Um,
It's called, I think, Air Squirrels is how it's worked. Yeah, it's
mhm,
the app for Windows and iOS that
mhm.
lets you mirror the screen to your computer or a streaming service for $15 to buy. It is $15, but just also make sure that you have the permission to stream it from the developer. You may want to reach out to the indie developer just to let them know, or even if it's a bigger AAA developer, let them know, hey, I'd like to stream this game if that's all right. Basically, how it would work in a bare bones fashion, whether it be Mac or PC based, is you'd be using your choice of streaming platform, whether it be XSplit or OBS. You would use a QuickTime player, something that you can actually choose to show, certain devices what's being shown on the screen. If you have the most updated Mac version, which I believe is Yosemite or is it El Capitan? I can't remember which one right now it
El
is.
Capitan.
El Capitan.
It's
Um,
El Capitan.
El
Yeah.
Capitan. Captain Morgan. Basically, what you do is when you have that updated software, you can actually change an arrow to the right of the record button, and it actually lets you choose if you're using where is it? Oh, I actually don't have mine with me. If you're using the Lightning to USB cable for an iOS phone, which I would assume you would need something similar for the Android, whether it be a USB to charger base your phone, for if you wanted to charge it on your computer or laptop, connect that in, make sure that that's in there. Click to have the device picking up from that, and it'll actually stream your image. And then what you would do there is a screen capture from the quick player or the mirror capturing device like Air Squirrel, and you could just record directly onto OBS or XSplit that way. So by doing screen capture or window capture, that's as simple as that. I don't know if it actually would pick up mic or sound. I didn't get the chance to actually test it. I managed to be able to do it on the Mac end with just the QuickTime player and OBS. I didn't try Air Squirrel, but I'll probably give it a shot when I have the feasible funds to do so. But you can stream that way
Yeah.
as well if you didn't want to try the tablet. And I know that there is something for Android users that was being implemented in partnership with Twitch, and I can't remember the name of it. It's Sony something, and I saw it. basically it was going to be a streaming platform where you could stream from your phone via an app without having to use any PC setup, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another option out there. So if you don't even own a computer, let's say you follow streams and whatnot from an app on your phone, you could potentially also stream that way as well. Um, I would hope that in due time, though, that Twitch and the other streaming platforms do give us the option to stream mobile. I'm sure that there's still a lot of fine lines that need to be covered because now you're going into a little more privacy and personal protection of people and their phones and information and whatnot. So you have to be a little more cautious about it, which is probably why we haven't seen it come into play yet. So,
Yeah, and just some other things, you know, to consider cost-wise is, you know, your mic, your webcam, streaming software, your headset. So, you know, that's also, you know, costs that you want to take into consideration. Um, and as far as my rig, um, I built it over a while, and I would encourage people to pay attention to like Amazon daily sales because sometimes you can build a whole PC
mm-hmm.
with their daily sales for a hell of a lot cheaper um, than you can normally. So, you know, building a PC is not necessarily out of range if you just kind of keep it on your radar if that's something that you want to do, you know.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. If you is Newegg also an option? Because I know there was a time, and this might actually show my age and experience, but I know Newegg was a lot of people was actually building a whole lot of traction as well for building your own PC and customizing it. Is that still a viable option out there, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I know. I think I did the Amazon route for Amazon Prime,
Mm-hmm.
2-day free shipping, but Newegg was constantly like on the radar as paying attention to what they have and, you know, any sales or deals or anything like that.
Gotcha. So I mean, there's everything is available at your fingertips if you really want to stream Atome games or if you want to stream in general. Um, there are no boundaries really. It's just a matter of what you want to do and how you choose to make it your own. Um, People also ask, you know, how did you develop being Pizza Made as a brand? Is that something that you wanted to be with for the rest of your life? And I was like, well, I didn't have much of a choice. Um, yeah, and Smashy even said Newegg is how I built my old computer, and I remembered it went pretty well. So Newegg is also an option too. Um, the
Mm-hmm.
Pizza Made brand was a complete and accidental mistake because before I was streaming Atomes, before I was even known as my alias, it was just an actual joke. It was the fact that I had my character in Final Fantasy 14 who happened to run a pizza cafe, and I walked around in a maid
I
dress.
think we came up with the Twitter handle like one night randomly.
Yeah,
Like we were
actually,
talking or something.
Ovada came up with it, and he was just like, "Hey, that's available.
Right.
You should use it," and I did, and it's stuck ever since. But the person who came up with Pizza Made for the start of the blog was one of my friends who plays on Ultros because I couldn't think of a name for my blog. I'm like, I want something that's representative of me, but I don't know what to use. And he's like, well, there's this really great domain called .moe, so you should check it out. And I was like, okay, well, I still don't know what I want to use. I don't want to use my name because names change, but I want to use something that's still indicative of me. So he's like, why not Pizza Made? And it stuck. And then we realized
Right.
that it's no different than Sushi Geisha, and that was where the food slash, feminine adverb or adjective, just came to place. And we're just like, oh, okay. Now we see a trend going. We'll just keep with it. So if you have if you have a brainchild or a seed in your head that you just want to bloom, go with it and see what happens. Now people no longer refer to me by my actual name. Now when people call pizza, even at a pizzeria, which has nothing to do with what I'm doing with games, I'll turn around and I'll go, what? Don't let that happen to you because it's sometimes a little
Right.
embarrassing, especially when you're at a pizzeria. So just be careful of that. But aside from that, Go for it. Sushi Geisha. How did you get Sushi Geisha?
Um, it was just, I don't know. It was I like sushi a lot, and I've always been a fan of geishas, and I just put the two together and just went with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of just stuck.
To jump into the next topic of this episode, we wanted to talk about otomes or elements of otomes in other games. Just really the relationship aspect. You're seeing it more now in the up and coming trends. You're seeing it in a lot of MMOs and other different base games. So I'm curious to ask, does a relationship aspect of a game attract you to it more? What are some of the games that are your favorite and not so favorite games, and that you can have a romance in them? This was actually a topic that I'd been wanting to discuss for a really long time. So I was super, super excited to see that you brought it up in the show notes this week, because I have many, many thoughts on just one game because I experienced it. But
Right.
I've had the experience in other games. I apologize for the paragraphs that I wrote in the show notes. But I definitely am curious to ask, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes. More so now than ever. If games have more of a romance in them, I will definitely pick them up.
Mm.
Prime example is, I'm playing Fire Emblem. Would not have played that before. I'm actually upset now when they aren't included, such as, so I'm playing Digimon, aka
Mm.
Satan, and you you can play as a male or female in that game. And there's a certain friend in that game that is a guy that I think is a very good character, and I would like my character to match up with his character. And I was thinking, well, since I play a female and he's the one male friend, and I have another female friend, then clearly maybe there might be some sort of flirtation or romance or a close friendship bond. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not. And what is so crazy is even in Digimon that I play a female, they did not change the text. So it still talks to me as though I'm a guy,
Mm-hmm.
um, which doesn't really ruin it except at certain points. Then it really kind of ruins the game for me. And I'm reminded, oh, that's right. I'm going to have to ship these two characters outside of the game because it's not even an option. Like, he still sees me as a guy, even though I have a female avatar. It's very weird how they did that. Um, so in more and more games that I play, I do get disappointed if there is no, even if they lead me to the romance and I can't pair people up, if that is totally removed from a game, it just really upsets me because I feel like that's a natural part of life. It may not be a romance per se, but they should have a close friendship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I
A
agree.
strong social aspect. So that does make me want to pick up games and put them down if they don't have it at times. But it's Satan, so I'll still keep playing it because it owns my soul. But some of my favorites are so the Trails series. Sav got me into these games. So it's Trails in the Sky and Trails of Cold Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other ones in between. Those are the only two I know of right now that I'm playing. And though you can't pick the love interest in those games, but there is a very sweet, innocent love story that happens while you're playing the story. And it's really sweet, and you fall in love with the characters, and then you fall in love with them being together, and you want them to be together. And so it it's easily become not just storyline wise, but because the characters have so much personality, and there's a huge flirt. He's my favorite character. And then, you have Estelle and Joshua, who are brother and sister, but they're not blood related. And they have this, Estelle's very shy around Josh. You can tell she has a crush on him, but you don't know how he feels. And so she gets naturally awkward at certain points in the game. And it's just really adorable while they're traveling the countryside, helping their community. And it's just, the gameplay is fun, but I fell in love with their romance.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Trails of Cold Steel. I can't pair the main character up, Reen, with Eustace, but in my mind they go together. but it has social links, like much like Persona, and that affects the battles and attacking together, defending together, and then you get these little snippets of like personal story moments that they share
Hmm.
that like when you see them, you're like, "Oh my God, he has to be with everybody. They're so perfect. I love them all." It's just those that series is definitely one of my top favorites.
I have to check it
The
out.
Persona series. Yeah, you really should. You really
I
should.
think that would be definitely a series that I can get into. Definitely.
It is really fun to play. And if you have any questions, I would ask Sab. He's helped me so much, like learn the gameplay.
Mhm.
Um, but my next up would definitely be Persona. Um, 3 and 4 definitely. They have social aspects. Persona 3, um, and Persona 3 Portable have romanceable routes, as well as Persona 4. But Persona 3 Portable has a female option. And if you are looking for if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and you like a dark story with a really good turn-paced RPG system and you want to be a strong female character that's the leader of the group, that does really well in school and that can romance any guy you want, then I would definitely encourage you to pick up that game. And the story is amazing.
Mhm.
Um, there are certain dates on the calendar that I just know what happens in that game, and I have to take a moment to myself because I'm like, oh my God, that's gonna happen. Um, and so I'm looking, it's bad. Like Sab's like, oh God, it's October 4th. Calm down, calm down. Like, but you don't understand. And so in Persona 4, you can only play as you, and you can only romance the girls. But I mean, it's still great. I love it, and we all have a best girl. But I, of course, as I've said a million times, you and Yosuke just go together for me. I'm all the time. I'm really looking forward to Persona 5 because they've announced that they're going to heighten the social aspects of the game. So I don't know if that means actual like series dates. Like I don't know what that means. So I'm really excited to
Oh.
see what level they're going to take it to. Um, because it's going to be really awesome. The next one is Conception 2. It is a Vita game. It is a stars God's gift, and you create star babies with your classmates to fight evil monsters. um, if you don't like a lot of more traditional, like guy in charge and kind of various, it has some fan service. We'll just say that. Um, it is meant to be fan service and silly and funny, but it has a great combat system. And depending upon the relationships you build and the special moments you build with the mothers of your star children, the
Mhm.
children are stronger because your bond with the mother is stronger, and you get little snippets of their story and of their past and great CGs. And I really like it. It's a really fun game to play, but it does have fan service, but it does have a guy moment that I'm really excited about.
We call that
Like
yaoi. We've
I,
got some great yaoi moments all up in this bitch.
I have I keep the pictures on my phone, and what's so great is like one of the teachers, she's like she calls you and you're in the park with like your rival, and she's like, "Oh, two boys alone in the park on a Friday night. What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Yes, what are we doing? Let's talk about this." So it's like it's a fun, silly game, but I enjoy it. And then of course I mentioned Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
The great part about that I found is I can invite them to my private quarters, and because the DS has a touch screen on the bottom, I can touch their face and make them
Oh
blush.
my god.
I'm so excited to do that. So, and then one of my other ones, and I'm just gonna talk about, and oh no, wait, I'm not there yet. Final Fantasy VII. I consider that a love story. Um, it has
Wait,
love
is it a love
aspects
story
in
for
it.
you or is it a love story for the game? Because let's be real. Let's be real, Sushi. Is the relationship you and Cloud
Um,
or is the relationship Cloud and other people?
yeah, uh, probably me and Cloud, but I like watching it and it makes me happy, so it's fine. Um, a couple of worthy mentions is Lord of Magna. It is and you might like this
Mm-hmm.
pizza if you have a DS. It's called Lord of Magna, uh, Made in Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Like maiden, like maid, and it is a strategy JRPG, I guess you would call it, and it has slight elements of romance. There is fan service, but
Mm-hmm.
you save an army of sister angels, like you uncover them one at a time, and they come to work in your inn, and your friend Bart, who's the pervert, he makes them all maid outfits because they're working in your inn.
It's
And
my friend
you as the
Bart.
main character, you're a very conservative. What?
It's my friend Bart. I'm proud of him.
What?
He got a Christmas present for me. I love Bart. I back
And like
that.
they pick on him. They give him a hard time where they're like, "Oh my goodness, like I can't believe you're doing this. It's so offensive." And the girls are like, "Wow, I feel so pretty. I love this outfit." Um, and so based upon interactions with them, you unlock CGs. You can go to the hot springs with them, which buffs your team, stuff like that. So it is a very sweet game, but if you don't like fan service, you probably it probably may get on your nerves, but it didn't bother me that much. I enjoyed it. Um, Two other honor-worthy mentions, and if you've played these, Pizza, tell me. I have not, but Harvest Moon and Rune Factory, I know are up there.
I played Harvest Moon, and Harvest Moon was actually really, really fun. I actually also picked it up for the mobile. The mobile is not nearly as fun as Harvest Moon. I think it was two for me that I played. I enjoy Harvest Moon
Really?
because Harvest Moon was a hybrid of Atome meets Animal Crossing, New Leaf, and that was I was like, oh, the best of both worlds. I totally will play this. Coincidentally, I played Harvest Moon before I played Animal Crossing New Leaf, but it's just a basic, you build up your own establishment, you manage, your farm and your crops, and you have to engage with different townspeople. And in the process of engaging with different townspeople, you may eventually, get into similar, interests with them, strike off, further conversation, and potentially romance with them, and possibly marry them. It's very it's a pure game. I enjoy that it's a pure game. It's not a problem for me. Although I was reading Smashy saying how, once you get married, your husband wife is always there for you to pat their head. I kind of wish my husband in Harvest Moon did do that for me, but he was pretty small. He was pretty pixelated. But Harvest Moon is a fun one.
Yeah.
A Rune Factory I've always heard a lot about, but I never actually tried it. And it was always on that list of, yes, Story of Seasons. Story of Seasons
Yeah.
is the shit. Love
Yeah,
it.
that's one too.
Yep.
I have not gotten far in Rune Factory or Story of Seasons,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that a lot of people enjoy them for that aspect. Um, Sab had a suggestion last night um, that he wanted me to include. So Link's Awakening for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. It's also in the eShop. It's a retro game, obviously, but it's a different kind of Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
It focuses on various relationships and builds a very intense story up to an unforeseen ending that can be heartbreaking. And it revolves around Link and another female character and the friendship that they build. And he was describing it to me, and I was like, oh my God, like I had seen videos of it and I knew about it, but the way he was describing the relationship, and we watched some videos of like their discussion with each other, I was like, wow, it's already intense for me. So, if you're looking for a good, really retro game, you may want to check that out. If you like Zelda, it's I guess, a different kind of Zelda game, but the story is very intense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Sab really enjoyed it. So, those are mine. Do you have any, before we get into the subject of MMOs,
Yeah, before we get into the
what are
subject of
your
MMOs,
favorites?
I mean, definitely, I think you mentioned, of course, Harvest Moon was the one that just immediately popped into my mind. I enjoyed Harvest Moon. Rune Factory was one that I always wanted to dive into and never did. And the reasoning behind it is somewhat beyond me. I just never got around to it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think it counts as a romanceable option, but just the format of the game. Fallout Shelter, the mobile app, it's very similar in the Fire Emblem kind of way. Obviously, it's a little different because it's
Really?
not post-apocalyptic. It's not a strategy or JRPG of sorts. It's a very, maintain a stronghold, maintain your sanctuary, and just you have to rebuild in order to just start bringing more people in, bringing in more resources, and bringing in more people to help and do work. It's not
Mm-hmm.
romantic by any means, but I think it's because I enjoy the art style of the Pip Boy so much in Fallout 4 that I was like, I just want to play it just to play it. And it reminds me of here's a game that it makes me think of, and right now the name escapes me, but just the premise of just, you have to bring, for if you want to procreate just like Fire Emblem, to build an OP stat child to, handle the work in one specific department, whether it be in power or water or even in just handling the radio for communications. I think that's a great concept. I do like games like that. It definitely lacks the
Mm-hmm.
romantic quality, and their idea of romantic quality is just the two of them dancing, going to the back, and then pop, the woman's accidentally pregnant. Like she just accidentally just, tripped on a fetus, and there it is. But I do enjoy that one. That would be one that I would also mention. It's not a very strong romance element, but it's a romance element nonetheless. So I did want to make note of
Right.
that. So it's like the best Zelda game.
So
Oh, sorry. I was just reading Sab. It's like the best Zelda game almost. It's on the eShop. I kind of want to check it out. I'm probably going to check out Link's Awakening because I don't follow the Zelda franchise all that much. So I'm curious to take a listen and gander out that one.
I'd like your opinion on it. So, um, so jumping into MMOs, because this is another big topic that we will discuss. I'm gonna hit the highlights and then I'm gonna turn it over to you because you play my favorite option in romance in an MMO. But quickly, so Guild Wars 2 does not really have anything, but they just recently added a wedding dress, and right now they have a package in the Black what is it, Blackline Trading Post, I think, or Black Market something, in their eShop. You can buy a full wedding package, so it comes with the dress for the bride, outfit for the groom, a name change
Oh, wow.
scroll, and like some other items. But there's no formal ceremony, which makes me hope that maybe there will be a formal ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes me hope that maybe you can also say get two wedding dresses and maybe two tuxedos instead of one or the other,
Mm-hmm.
if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they're looking at adding stuff like that. I was very excited to see that because I think it's fun. I think it adds another element. Star Wars: The Old Republic, you can romance your followers. And at first, I wanted to romance the female followers I had because I liked their characters more, and they were prettier, and you couldn't do that in the beginning. But now they have added it. They have not gone back to. Oh wow. Okay, so Sad did correct me. The wedding outfit in Guild Wars 2 changes based upon the gender, so that is good. I like that.
I like that you can
Thank
get
you,
a
Sad.
name change also. I think that's really cool. That's something
Yeah.
that 14 does not have. I would be all about that. So, good on you,
So
Guild Wars.
in Star Wars, they added the same sex relationship aspect, but they could not, obviously not go back to the first 50 or 60 levels and change that. So for your original followers, you cannot do that, but I think for the new ones or any new content, you can, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had to fall in love with the bug guy because my agent was my blueberry agent, as I called her. Um, she I fell in love with the bug guy. I don't remember his name to save my life, but he like lived with the bugs and they had like a radio, like they he had his ear to what they were doing and they could hear what he was doing. And so when you guys consummate your relationship, he actually says, "Do you want me to turn off that communication so they don't know what we're doing?" And I was like, "Yes, please." Let's
It's
just
nobody else's business. This is not a
let's just
pay-per-view event.
um and I think Elder Scrolls Online offers it and you get certain buffs, but I don't play Elder Scrolls. I couldn't get past looking like a potato sack in the starting area after Guild Wars 2. And my favorite model, though, which I will now turn over to you because I've never experienced it, is in Final Fantasy 14.
Yes.
So go for it.
It's surprising to see even a lot of older MMOs how World of Warcraft doesn't have a marriage system implemented yet. All they have are just the wedding rings. That's it. You can just give someone the rock. And I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. But once I started playing Final Fantasy 14 and saw when they were implementing what they call the Eternal Bond Ceremony, it is hands down my favorite game of games that gives the option for it. Um, when it was just introduced and just implemented, a couple weeks following it, I had gotten into a discussion with one of my FC mates who happened to be one of my friends. I wasn't with Samodian at the time, and me and my friends were just trying to get in on the two-seater chocobo mounts because that's all we wanted was two-seater mounts. But we realized that both on a tactical and for the guys, it was great because when you become eternally bonded to someone, the rings that you equip, which you have to go through this very, it's not daunting, but a very tedious quest line to just get to completing the Eternal Bond Ceremony. And once you finally complete it, you have to make your rings out of, certain items and materials and have them made by someone in order for them to be upgraded to become your wedding rings on your ceremony. And
Really?
yeah, yeah, me and him, we made the decision because we were both in it for the chocobo. That's honestly it. We were in it for the two-seater mount. We were like, you want a two-seater mount? He's like, yeah, do you want one? I'm like, cool, let's get married. Fuck it, why not? Let's do it. But it actually suited great purposes too, because when you equip the ring, the funny thing about that is the ring also lets you teleport to your significant other. So from a tactical standpoint, at that time, hunts were also introduced in, what was it, 2.5? It was maybe 2.0 or 2.5 was when eternal bonding was implemented. So when there would be, let's say, an S rank hunt happening in one side of Eorzea and I was on the other side, we would purposely plan it so that we would be in two different spots. And then if he had the hunt that I needed, I would just immediately teleport over to him so I could jump in, target the S rank hunting animal, and get the kill so I can get my points for it, my seals. So in that sense, it was tactical. Two, having a two-person chocobo, especially if you play with friends who might be lower level and can't go through certain areas, you could just have them join in a party, and all they have to do is jump up,
Yeah.
and then you can just transport them wherever you want to, and they're relatively safe. They may get hit by some things, but it's minimal aggro. I always apologize. I'm sorry if you get hit, but I'll try to go as fast as I can. What I love about the Eternal Bonding Ceremony, though, is one, you can have it in three tiers. There are different plans. There's the standard plan, the gold plan, and the platinum plan. And even the free plan, which was the standard plan, it's not that bad. The only thing that you're missing from it is the rewardable when you give out wedding invitations for all the people who attended the wedding that have an invite afterwards, they can redeem their invitation to the coordinator of the wedding and get a free in-game minion that they can carry around with them, like a little
Uh-huh.
pet. And then and then for the bride and groom, the only thing that they miss out on is the two-person chocobo. And then there's a couple color choices in the actual ceremony that they don't get to make because those color options aren't available. So when we came to deciding for me and son what we wanted to do, we decided we would just do the gold plan. So we each bought the gold plan, got the wristlets for it. We went through an entire quest line, which was taking us to different parts and spots of Eorzea, which was the, I guess, sacred ground of the deity of each respected area. And it told a story how even
Uh-huh.
though two people are apart, yet in love, it unites them and bonds them as one. Final Fantasy has such a way of presenting things in a narrative that is so amazing that it kind of gets you choked up. And mind you, for the platonic feelings I had for Son, I'm like, I'm so glad he's my husband. This is gonna be the greatest wedding ever. It is a little shitty though in some areas because when eternal bonding ceremonies first came out, you had to schedule an appointment to have your wedding set. And there are certain days and times that are open. People who purchase the platinum plan get first come, first serve. And then it follows up with the gold section. They get a designated amount of time to decide when they want to purchase, or when they want to, set the date for their wedding and reserve the time off at the church. And
Mhm.
then whatever's left over is what the free people get to use. So when we also decided on the gold plan so that we can get somewhat of a good relative idea as to when we wanted to get married, that it wouldn't conflict with our friends coming to visit us. I think when we ended up getting married, which was in January of 2015, January 15th, if I'm not mistaken, or January 10th. Shit, I gotta look on my ring.
I can't believe you don't know the date.
He doesn't know the date either. He doesn't know either. But it's somewhere between the 10th and the 15th. It was definitely a Friday, which was awesome. But it ended up being like a 1 a.m. wedding. And then we had the time blocked off from 1 to
Yeah.
2 a.m. Eastern for the church. But we still had a good amount of friends to come out. What's so great about this game is, one, it's same sex. You can have two brides, you can have two grooms, you can have a Rogadin bride and a Lalafell husband, or vice versa. For us, we just so happen to be cat boys. But we ended up having our wedding, and we ended up making it wizard hat themed because that's his thing. He
Right, I
likes
remember
wearing
that.
wizard hats. So everybody, the only requirement we had for the wedding was everybody wear wizard hats. But we chose the music as to the entrance theme of when we walked in, how we came in, because we could walk in through the doors like, bride and groom, or we could come down on this gondola looking thing as it comes down, and then it kind of just gravitates us towards the main stage of the ceremony. Or I forget what the other way was. I forgot what the other way was. And then we got to choose the music. We got to choose the color of the wedding, which we ended up deciding would be orange because our last name is Sunkissed, and Sunset Orange is my favorite color in game. I dye everything Sunset Orange. So we had an orange wizard hat themed wedding. And we got to choose our vows. We got to choose how we chose to say I do, because you can choose it from just the ring ceremony. You could choose it from Moogles dancing around, or it can have you levitate in the air and the two of you can kiss. Like there's so much customization in the eternal bonding ceremony that it's absolutely wonderful. And everyone
Mhm.
goes into a waiting room just while waiting, because you have 10 minutes prior to the ceremony to start, to just get yourself equipped, make sure you have all the equipment that you want to wear, take pictures, all that stuff, and then you could start the ceremony. And for the hour that it's worth, and it cost us, I think, $10, because it was a $20 plan, or maybe it was a $10 plan. I don't remember, but I remember only us paying $10. I thought it was the greatest deal ever, and we got so many things to remember it by after the fact. And after the ceremony was done, we took pictures all around the church, and it's a beautiful, beautiful church. Like, the aesthetics of what they did in Final Fantasy 14 was absolutely wonderful. Smashy, if you want, I actually have a link to my wedding in a YouTube video that you can post in there. Um, so I'm trying to think if there's any other things to note about it. The only thing I would say is just be mindful of who you choose to get married to in game, because divorce is an option and it costs a hell of a ton of. It costs a decent amount of money. The only requirements to get married, if I'm not mistaken, is to just be level 50 and to be affiliated with a grand company in game. But definitely go for the gold for it. Like, I had a blast. I wasn't with Sam at the time, so it was just natural for me to marry my friend. And me and him are still married. Me and him still do hunts together. We're a good tank healing duo. But I do have alt Sams that can also get married. Just saying. Just saying, Sam, because you're going to watch this video. Hint, hint. Um, I can get married more than once. I have other tunes. I have alts for a reason. But yeah, the options are there. Absolutely, hands down, my favorite thing. And there's also a link to the Eternal Bonding site if you wanted to check it out. It shows you all the different plans, all the different options. You can dye your wedding dress any color you want, and the fact you can keep it. If you want bridesmaids or groomsmen in the game, you can actually buy bridesmaids dresses for people to like stand on the side of the stage during the ceremony, and you can have them all decorated in whatever color they want, according to the theme of the wedding. You choose the music, you choose the entrance, you even choose how you exit the church. and like go outside. Like it's the little things that is just absolutely amazing. I had an absolute blast with it. It wasn't much like an actual wedding, but it felt as close as it could be in game. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Definitely enjoyed that.
Yeah. They're giving me a hard time because I so in Warcraft,
Mm-hmm.
whenever we are on the Mammoth Mount,
Mm-hmm.
I play a priest, a healer, and whenever we're on that mount, Smash will be driving, Sab will be on one side, and then I'll be on the other, and they always hit me. They always come after me.
Oh wow.
It doesn't matter, like it. Yeah, it's hilarious, and they always laugh because it takes like 2 hits, and then like I'm like at half life, and like I'm riding with a tank and a DPS and plate, and they come after you know, the
Oh
healer. And so they always give me a hard time about that,
wow.
about the 2-seater mount, 3-seater.
Well, I will tell you because I'm seeing these questions now. For reference, if you wanted to know, the marriage ceremony itself is character bound. The same can also be said about the mount itself. It is only limited to one character. So, whoever you choose to marry or whichever tune you choose to have get married, make sure that you notate that they are both that is the one that you want. So that is that. But yeah, I mean, if there's any other game that I'd say that I absolutely love, I think Final Fantasy is it. Absolutely adore Final Fantasy. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention about it. But do we have any news bites or news releases for this week?
Yes, so Shall We Date has a pirate game coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that should be interesting. A new Voltage game called Kisses and Curses is coming out. And then the Kickstarter update for Beastmaster and Prince, they're at 53K with probably 14 days to go left right now.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely encourage you if you have not taken a part of that, I would definitely jump on that to help support it. Flan asked us to mention that Mystic Destinies was on is on Steam. It has received some positive reviews. So definitely check that out. And then Duplicity is having a 50% off sale. I haven't played any of those games,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So that's what's going on Steam at least that we got word about. So
Awesome.
yeah, I think that's all we had for this week.
Yeah, I think that's about all of it that I know of. Guys, it's always great to have you tune in and check out the channel here. Of course, for anybody who wants to check us out, you can always come over here to twitch.tv/CBHeroines. And of course, you guys know how to follow us on Twitter, and you also know how to follow us at our own respected sites. But we want to thank everyone so much for tuning in, and we will probably be back in action next week. So stay tuned for next Friday. And this is the Head Maid in Charge signing out. And we'll see you guys soon. Do we do Team Atome?
Bye.
You know
No,
what?
I'm spent. We had a big show.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. So let the spirit of TOT follow you guys. And thank you